Hi, this is Mrs. Williams, and I'm just going to go over the area of a triangle with you. So on the screen we have triangle ABC. The first thing I want to point out is that the lowercase letters in this picture and in the formulas over here represent the sides of the triangle, and the uppercase letters represent the angles. And one thing you want to grab before we get started is a scientific calculator. So if you don't have a calculator in front of you, pause this, go grab one. A scientific calculator will just have sine, cosine, and tangent buttons on it. So you'll see sin, cos, tin. So pretty much any calculator, unless it's really basic, will have those buttons. You don't need a graphing calculator, but go find one that has those 3 buttons and then continue with this recording. Okay, so you might be looking at these and saying, whoa, what happened? I just thought it was pretty simple. 1/2 base times height was the area of a triangle. That's what I've always learned. And that's true if the sides, the base and the height, meet at a 90-degree angle. And these formulas are actually the same if the angles that you use here, angle A or B or C, were 90 degrees. So if I, for example, let's just pretend that angle B is 90 degrees here, and I plugged in 90 degrees, I'd have sine of 90 degrees. And now that you have your graphing calculator, if you type that in, sine of 90 degrees gives you 1. So what happens is this formula right here, the 1/2 A times C, the A and the C would just represent your base and your height. You'd have to turn this triangle. But if you rotate this triangle and turn it to where it's sitting on like side C would be down here, A would be your height and C would be your base. So this would turn into 1/2 base times height, the formula that you know and love. It's just that it only works if the angle where the 2 sides meet, in this case we're just pretending angle B, was a 90-degree angle. Okay? So we're going over these formulas because these formulas will work even if the angle where the 2 sides meet is not 90 degrees. So these are a little more general, a little more useful in more cases. So let's take a closer look. You don't have to memorize all these formulas. I'm going to show you how to use them, and then once you get the hang of it, you won't have to remember, okay, where does the B and the C go, and then the capital A goes here, and oh my gosh, I can't remember that. Okay, don't worry about that. How the formula works is that you're just going to use 2 sides of the triangle and the included angle. Included angle just means where the 2 sides meet, the angle where they meet. So if we look at this formula, let's break it down. Look at sides B and C. Okay, here's side B, here's side C. Where do they meet? They meet right here, right? Oh, look at that. There's angle A. So that's the formula, or that's the angle that you use in the formula. Okay, so the first 2 letters are just the sides that you have information about. So if we knew the measurement for side B and the measurement for side C, we would go with those 2 sides. And then to use the formula, we'd need to know the angle where those 2 sides meet. So we'd need to know, this is 30 degrees or whatever. Okay? So let's try some and see if we can figure out how this works. All right, so in this problem, angle A, side A is 4 feet. So I'm going to put 4 there, and then side C is 9 feet. Okay, those are the 2 sides I know. So let's pause just for a second. I know we have more information, but let's just take a look at the 2 sides that I have, and let's think. Okay, we need to know those 2 sides, we need to know the angle where those 2 sides meet, right? So here, let me make this darker so you can see it. Okay. Oh, let's change the color too if I can. Do red. Okay. So that's side C, and then the other side I have is side A. Let me just illustrate. They would meet. See how the sides meet? I'm going to make that a little longer. There we go. See how they meet right there? So I need to know angle B, right, to continue with the formulas up here. Luckily I do. I know it's 12 degrees, but you just want to check that. Okay, that's how these formulas work. So if you don't have, that condition in there where you need to know the angle where the sides meet, then these formulas won't work. If you knew, angle A, rather than angle B, you can't use these formulas, okay? But this lesson will give you the formula, the angles and the sides you need, so you should be good. Okay, so now let's plug it in and try to do it without even looking at the formulas up there. Okay, so we're going to say the area is, just remember the first thing is 1/2, and you can also use 0.5 times your two sides, so we can do C times A or A times C. I know the formula, we're kind of looking at this formula, right? And in that formula, it lists A first and then C. But it doesn't matter. Multiplication is commutative, so it really doesn't matter. We can do 9 times 4 or 4 times 9. You're going to get the same answer. And then sine of angle B. And angle B, it told us, was 12 degrees. So I'm just going to plug in 12 degrees. Okay. So now that you plug it in, here comes the calculator part. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky sometimes, is just knowing how to use your calculator. What I would do first is I would multiply this first group all at once, and the easiest way to put that in your calculator is, instead of putting in 1/2, just put in 0.5. So we're just going to do 0.5 times 9 times 4. Just put that all in at once, and you're going to get 18. And then sine of 12. Now each calculator works a little bit differently. Test yours out. Sometimes you have to put in sine, hit the sine button first, and then enter 12 and hit enter. Some calculators you enter the degree in first, so you might need to put in 12 first and then hit sine and then enter. So try sine, 12, enter. If that doesn't work, 12, sine, enter. Okay? You should get 0.2079. Okay? And let's say you did get an answer, but it wasn't that. Another thing that you want to make sure of is that your calculator is in degree mode. And if you need help with that, let us know. Each calculator is a little different, so you might even try Googling your model number of your calculator and just say, TI-84 plus degree mode, or whatever your calculator is called, and you'll probably find directions. Okay, so now that you have that, you just take 18 times 0.2079 and see what you get. One thing that you do want to make sure of is that you at least carry the decimal out 4 places when you plug in a sine, cosine, or tangent answer. In this problem, you're only going to have sine. But, just as a heads up, if you do run into any problems that use sine, cosine, or tangent, you want to always keep at least 4 decimals there. So we're going to get 3.7422, and it looks like that is answer A. Okay, let's try one more. See how you do on this one. Maybe pause it, try it yourself first, and then watch me do it and make sure you got it right. All right, so we know that side B is 15. We know that side C is 28. We can look at that and say, okay, side C is here, side B is here. We need to know angle A, or we can't use these formulas. And luckily, they gave it to us. This is 67 degrees right here. And so we can find the area of the triangle. So the area is 1/2, and you can just put in 0.5. Let's try it this way this time. Times your two sides, 15 times 28 or 28 times 15, it doesn't matter. And then sine of your angle. So sine of 67. Okay. So again, I am just going to take care of these first 3 right away, put it in my calculator. 0.5 times 15 times 28 gives me 210. And then I'm going to type in sine of 67, enter, or again, you might need to do 67 sine, enter, depending on your calculator. Round it to 4 decimals, 0.9205, and then take 210 times 0.9205. And we get 193.305. Oh, and you should put units on. We didn't do that on the last one. But again, since it's area, your units are always squared. So it looks like answer A is the one that's closest again. So I hope you learned something. Let us know in tutor time if you have questions.